Shalom, more praise to Yahweh Bashim Shah, double honor to the apostles, GM masters. I'm now Allah coming at you in the video. I was just doing this show a few minutes ago, and I pressed the wrong button, and something happened and just didn't record and didn't save, so now I gotta do this again. So basically, in this show, I want to be going into the book of 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 5, mainly focusing on the part where it says, standing out of the water and in the water. And I'm going to go into what that means. The last show was bordering along the lines of like 10 minutes. It's maybe shorter. So, yeah, let's get right to it. All right. 2 Peter 3 and 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts. So in the last days, there's going to come scoffers. A scoffer is a person that says something to mock in a manner of mockery or ridicule, who says something in a manner of contempt or to cause derision. So a person that's saying something to bring about contempt or hatred, disgust, a strong dislike, or to cause derision, which is confusion. Okay? That's a person that's a scoffer. That's always talking trash, in other words. Walking after their own lust, right? Walking after their own desires. Their own earthly desires, their own earthly lust. The pride of life. Loving this world, the life that they have in this world. And what are the pride of life? What are the things in life that people have pride in? Fame, fortune, admiration, monetary gain, things of that nature. America's not going to be destroyed. This world as we know it is not going to end after all. Why would they want it to? If so, they wouldn't be able to walk in their own lust anymore. So they want this world to continue. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? Right, they say, where is the promise of the Lord's coming? They say, where is the promise of the Lord's coming? What's the sign? Let's look at the word promise real quick.
Strong's G 1860. Epangelia.
Announcement, promise, the act of promising, a promise given or to be given, a promise good or blessing. Zoom in. It says primarily a law term denoting a summons. Epi meaning upon, angelo to proclaim, announce, also meant an undertaking to do or give something a promise. Okay? So where's the promise of his coming? Where's the announcement or the proclamation of his coming? We're doing it now. We're out there teaching the word, telling them of the coming of the Lord. Announcement, promise, the act of promising, a promise given or to be given, a promise good or blessing. So where's the promise of his coming? Where's the announcement? Where's the information? Where's the pledge? See that right there? Where's the sign? Right there, it's a strong definition. Okay? Then, where are these signs that he's going to come? But you can read about that in the book of Matthew. It's at the 24th chapter. So they say, where's the promise of his coming? Where's the announcement? Which we're giving you the announcement. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep. In other words, since the prophets had died, the apostles died, since the men of previous generations died, since those who came before you spoke of the Lord coming back, they all died. They all fell asleep. All things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. So since they all fell asleep, all things are going to continue since it's been from the beginning of creation. All things are going to go back to normal. All things are going to go back to the way it was before. That's never going to happen. Everything's going to go, the world's going to keep going the way it is. That's the mentality that people have. For this they are willingly ignorant of. They're willingly ignorant of the promise of his coming. That by the word of the Most High, which you know that word is talking about Yahweh Shah, that by the word of Yahweh Bashim Shah, the heavens were of old, meaning they were of old, meaning they were created of old times, from the beginning. And the earth standing out of the water and in the water. Right, the earth standing out of the water and in the water. What does that mean, out of the water and in the water? Okay, go to Genesis, the first chapter. I'm going to start from Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, the powers created the heaven and the earth. That word there for God in the Hebrew is Elohim, which means powers, judges, or in other words, it's referencing Yahweh Shah and the angels. And the earth was without form and void. So the earth was without form and it was void. It was emptiness. So it was without form. In other words, the things that made up the earth was there, but it was without form. meaning the elements that make up the earth was not combined to make the earth as we know it. They were all scattered like water. Water is what? Hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. The elements of hydrogen and elements of oxygen are in space, but they're scattered, not put together to make the water as we know it. Just like this oxygen that we breathe right now. But when hydrogen and oxygen are combined, I believe it's what, 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen, or 1 part hydrogen, 2 parts oxygen, that makes water as we know it. It's when those elements are formed that liquid water is created. So the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, meaning it was pure darkness upon what? The deep space. It was pure darkness. Light was not yet created. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, meaning Yahweh Shai and the angels moved upon the face of the waters. Now we know they weren't in actual water. They were in space. The elements that make up water were in space, hydrogen, oxygen, and they were moving throughout space. And the power said, let there be light, and there was light. So light was created. And the power saw the light that it was good, and divided the light from the darkness. So light was divided from the darkness. And the powers called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So Yahweh Shai called the darkness night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So the evening and the morning were the first day. And the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. In other words, let there be a firmament created in the midst of the waters, meaning let there be a firmament created in the midst of space. What is the firmament known as? The Earth's atmosphere. In the atmosphere you have, like the stratosphere, the ionosphere, the mesosphere, the ozone layer. But all that is called the atmosphere. So it said, and the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the water. So in the midst, or in the middle, amongst the waters, let there be a firmament that's created. So amongst the waters of space, or among deep space, there was a firmament that was created in the midst of it. So you had the Earth's atmosphere that was created. So think of a circle that the Earth will be put in, but it's completely empty. Nothing is inside of it yet. And let it divide the waters from the waters, meaning let it divide the waters, or deep space, from the waters. Meaning let it divide deep space, in other words, the waters, from space, or the waters that were within that firmament. So you basically have a circle. You have a circle, which is the Earth's atmosphere, and you have an emptiness or space outside of it, and in that circle you have an emptiness or space within it. So the waters is the deep space that's out of it, and the waters is the deep space that's within it. That's why I said to divide the waters from the waters. It was divided in deep space from the space that was within it, where the earth was going to be placed. And the powers made the firmament and divided the waters which are under the firmament from the waters which are above the firmament. And it was so. So the firmament was created and divided the waters which are under the firmament from the waters which are above the firmament. Meaning divided the waters under the firmament, meaning under that circle, from the ones that were above the firmament or outside of that circle. And it was so. Let me give you an example. Look at this image here. This would be the firmament. You see this circle right here that's around the earth? That's the waters. That's going to divide the waters above the waters. This is the waters that's above, or deep space, from the waters that's under it, from the waters or the space that's within it. But remember, it was the ozone, or the Earth's atmosphere, that was created first. Nothing was inside of it. So if you remove this Earth from inside this firmament or inside this atmosphere, you have nothingness, or just space within it. And this firmament was created to divide the waters from the waters, to divide the waters or deep space from the waters or the space that's within it. Because remember, it was just space in there. There was no earth at first. It was to divide the waters from under the firmament, meaning under or within this atmosphere, from above this atmosphere. It was going to divide the waters from the waters. Okay? That's why I said in 2 Peter 3 and 5, for this they are willingly ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. It was out of the water, meaning what? It was outside of deep space, but then again, it was in the water. It was in the space of the atmosphere. It was out of the water and in the water. outside of deep space, but it was inside the firmament. That's why when you go back to this image here, you see the Earth standing out of the water. It's outside of deep space. See that image see that image right there, the moon? It's out of the water, outside of deep space. Why? Because it's in the water, inside the water or the space that's within the Earth's atmosphere. So with that, I'm gonna close. So that's just what it means when it says out of the water and in the water. I just wanted to show you brothers that. Okay. So with that, I'm gonna close. I'm gonna say, all praise Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, double honor to the apostles of GMS. I hope brothers learn something. Shalom.